We back. I'm usually during the day I don't really have time to kind of go live unless it's a slow day or I'm at a place like I am now where it's a lot of trucks in front of me. I got a lot of time to kill. Well, not a lot of time, but I got some time to kill. But anyway, I went live last night. I talked about, I gave my 2 cents on the whole Georgia Tech debacle. I kind of got into some of the stuff about UNC. But talk a little bit more about this, right? This has turned into a big game. It was a big game to start the season, but it's most definitely a big game now. Because after the GT debacle, we are, in my opinion, right back where we were. What's up, Wayne? We're kind of right back where we were going into the Texas A&M game, where the mindset is, well, can the Canes win a big game? Mario Cristobal has the ability to get two big game victories this year, and UNC would be the second one. But before I get into that, I want to ask a question. I'm gonna give my answer at the end of it. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. If we, hypothetically speaking, if we could play in a bowl game, who would you guys rather play? Out of these four, and put them in order. So we got Ole Miss, Penn State, Oregon, and Notre Dame. So out of those four teams, which one would y'all rather play in a bowl game, or if you hypothetically could pick? So, but anyway, so moving on. UNC is gonna be the UNC is the first true road test for us, right? We went on the road, played Temple, but UNC is the first true road test, right? I said it last night on the video. UNC is the only other ACC program that, aside from Florida State, can attest to say we had a freshman class graduate and not know what it's like to lose to the University of Miami. They know what that's like. They're looking to go for the fifth straight victory, right? So these are the things that we have to. These are the things that we have to figure out. Against Texas A&M, we overcame some adversity. Block punt, muff the punt. We kept it pushing. But for the people that were at the game, most people said that Texas A&M didn't really travel that well, so we really had a home field advantage. So those two blunders happened. We were able to kind of brush it off and go out there and handle business. But what happens if we have that type of blunder in Chapel Hill, where no doubt there's going to be more UNC fans in the stadium than Miami fans? What's going to happen? Right. I know people talk about, well, UNC, this is the rankings. They don't have a top defense. They don't have this. The run defense is all this. I don't care about that. UNC at this point to me is a rival. And what does a rival mean? Rivalry means the records are out the door. Whatever the defensive and offensive rankings, those are out the door. This game is going to come down to who wants it more. Now, it's not a rival in essence such as Florida State, because a lot of the players that UNC has on their roster are not guys that are from Florida and vice versa. But there's some blood there. Um, James Williams' first year, getting into it with some UNC players in the back of the end zone. I still remember that. I'm sure James Williams still remembers that. I'm sure those guys want. Those guys have gone through a lot of adversity. Those guys don't want to lose to UNC again. I don't want to lose to UNC again, right? So that's going to be the first test. This is the first true road test that we have. What are we going to do if things are going our way, right? And it's easy for people to say, "Hey, well, Texas A&M," and like I said, Texas A&M was the second game of the season. Texas A&M is trying to figure out who they are on offense and defense. We were still trying to figure out who we were offensively and defensively. The key that we had was that we were at home, and we were just a bad matchup for Texas A&M. Point blank and period. We were just a bad matchup, and we exploited those matchups that we had. Point blank and period. QB, that's another great point. It's a night game. It's a night game. And speaking of that, that makes me think about another point. Leading up to the GT game, the whole thing was, well, no one's talking about us. It's quiet. We moving silently through here. And it made me think about, I remember when I was younger, I had an Xbox. And like my first action, first person game, shooter game was Splinter Cell, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. And I remember it was a mission that I had. And the mission, you had to be silent, you had to stay in the dark, right? You had to be stealthy. Because if you made the wrong move, the alarm was gonna go off, the mission was gonna fail. And that's essentially what just happened to the Miami Hurricanes Saturday night. We weren't stealthy, we made a blunder, and now we went from not being talked about to being talked about, and not in a good way. So we have to, so it's already hard enough to win games, but now you got this added pressure because now you may have people watching and see, well, are they gonna do it again? Are they gonna make another blunder again? Um, all this good stuff like this, and yeah, play Splinter. Yeah, you gotta be extra stealthy on Splinter Cell, like you really do. So that's what we get. That's what we're up against, right? We're up against a team that's a program that's so confident in beating the University of Miami. They've done it 4 times, right? They actually lead the all-time series right now. Unfortunately, they do. So this is a rivalry. This is a real deal rivalry. So we got to see what is TVD gonna do, right? Because as I said on my live last night, TVD, we've had 2 games against UNC, and we've been right there to win the game or to do it, and we've thrown a interception right there in the red zone, like you said before. Mac Brown is gonna try to put foots in us. Like I don't know what Mac Brown's problem is with us, but that's what it is. And I'm gonna say something that it may not be the most popular thing to say, or it may be an unpopular opinion, but this is my opinion. UNC is a trap game for us too. Because while UNC has embarrassed us on 2 occasions, we have played some close games against USC, and we just ended up just being on the short end of the stick. Clemson, on the other hand, has embarrassed us in every single matchup that we've had dating back to 2009. So I'm not saying that our guys are going to look ahead from North Carolina to look towards Clemson, but by definition, this kind of is a trap game because in reality, I think Clemson still poses a bigger threat to us than North Carolina for the simple fact that Clemson is going to be on a bye week. So Clemson is going to have some time to work on some things that, see if they can work. Garrett Riley's is going to have some time to work with Cade Klubnik, all that stuff like this. So this week, I think it's more of a Diaz costing big gains. Birds thought I agree with that, but it's just that my rebuttal to that is, well, what was Larry Fedora's issue? When Larry Fedora went 50, when it was 59-21, what was his problem? You know? So I don't know what the situation is that Mac Brown interviewed for the Miami job and they didn't want him. I mean, I do not know. Just the venom that the UNC program has towards us. I mean, it is just it's crazy the venom that they have for us, right? But like I said, getting back to my point, this is kind of like a trap game because we have to, our program, Coach Cristobal and staff have to do something that they haven't had to do this year. Schools envy, hate Miami, so I always kick them when they're down. QB, I can agree with that point. I can agree with that. But I just think the UNC thing is different because of the Ryan Switzer situation. And like I said on my live last night, I think Butch Davis had a lot to do with this because Butch Davis was upset with the administration because I believe he did interview for the job back, when Randy got the job and they didn't want to give it back to him. Larry took bitch mentality against us to keep coming. Yeah. Salute Canes Dolphins 89. Yeah, I agree. Like Larry Fedora kept that and is handed off to Mac Brown. So Um, we got a tall mountain ahead, man. UNC literally just played, or at least Drake May literally just played his best game of the season. So he's gonna be hot right now. You know, he's gonna be hot right now. So like I said, I watched UNC versus South Carolina. I was kind of impressed with what they did, defensively. So I'm kind of in the mindset of I think that they probably will turn that same intensity on against us for the simple fact that again this is a rivalry game. Everything's out the window, and you hurt, man, Wayne. I try not to, I try not to let that affect me, man. I mean I really can't, man, because I can't have it on my mind out here driving and trying to secure the load. I really just kind of do it. I can't even think about you and say, well, hey Wayne, you're not alone. It's a lot of people I see. They not gonna be able to get their mind off of Georgia Tech. But hey, I gotta move on. I got I gotta move on. I got to. I have no choice but to move on because I just before the season started, I knew if we play it on against May, we can get him confused and got to bring some pressure. First, I'm gonna tell you something about that. After we played Drake May last year and coming into this year, I wasn't impressed with Drake May. I really wasn't impressed with Drake May because I saw how we played against Drake May. Let me move up. Give me a second. Don't mind the background noise. I gotta move up. But like I was saying, I wasn't necessarily impressed with Drake May because I felt that we were able to neutralize him last year, and we understand how our defense was last year. So we were able to somewhat neutralize Drake May, forced him into two interceptions. So, like I said, I wasn't necessarily that impressed with Drake May last year, but I can't bank on last year. This is a new year, so I got a new coordinator, but they're kind of running the same, running the same system. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Um, they got a big time weapon. They got a big time weapon back. I think he had maybe 6 catches yesterday. They already got two good guys. Wayne, that's the nail on the head. That's it. Because like I said on my live last night, that touchdown could have been avoided or contained. All we had to do was not allow Haynes King to roll to the right. If we would have had a contain right there, we're not even talking about this. We're talking about how we fought through adversity, won the game. We got a lot to clean up. But it's like, but that's the scheme. We got to deal with it. We got to deal with the twists and stunts. I mean, that's what Gidry's trying to do. So we got to deal with it. Um, UNC has a potent running game. They have a potent passing game. This is going to be the second test of the season to see if those rankings and those marks that we have based on NCAA, if those actually stand the test of time, if those things actually mean something. Do we really have a top 10 type of defense? Do we really have a good run defense? Is our secondary really that much better? All those questions are going to be answered Saturday night. It's either going to be a yes or it's either going to be a no. Because, again, we got Clemson teams might attack Cam, which is crazy. You know what, QB? I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say they're going to attack Cam, but what I'm going to say is they're going to make Cam think. When you, like I say, Drake May was just a redshirt freshman last year, right? He's just a redshirt sophomore this year. He has a lot of tape. He's worked a lot better. People are pegging him to be the second pick quarterback, in the NFL draft. So he has to play better if they attack Cam. That's positive for us. I mean, yeah, but I'm not so much worried about Cam. I'm more concerned about they have 3 wide receivers. They got 3. And they got a quarterback. Now, You like I say, we've seen this before with Texas A&M, but I think UNC right now, with this being the sixth game of the season, they're a little bit more polished than what Texas A&M were. Now we're a little bit more polished as well, but it's gonna come down to this game is just about who's gonna make the best adjustments, about whose coaching staff is gonna put the players in the best position, right? And I know some people are, are chalking this up as a win, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna chalk anything up as a win. I'm chalking this up as this is going to be a very disrespectful game, right? This is gonna be a very disrespectful game. Miami needs to dominate because I don't want a close game again. What do you disagree with, Wayne? About what do you disagree with? Needs to dominate. Yeah, Miami needs to dominate, but it's like, are we gonna be able to dominate UNC? Like, can we possibly do that? Like, the only time that I've known of us to dominate UNC was going back to 2010, and then those 2 years that Larry Fedora had all those. I think it's gonna come down to both teams play across a lot of scripts. I think the K's are gonna come out pissed off and handle business like we shouldn't win it. And QB play, which TVD do we get? Wayne, I'm gonna say this. Yeah, every game comes down to line of scrimmage play. Pilo, what's good? Every game does come down to line of scrimmage play. But at some point, we saw what our line of scrimmage play looked like. Our line of scrimmage was good against Georgia Tech, both sides of the ball. But the skill, the quarterback, that's what it is. We have to start fast and enforce we'll have to be two-tone sets. Then we got to set the tone. I mean, to be honest with you, if we win the toss, I would love for us to put the offense on the field first and try to go for the score to put pressure on UNC. I would love to do that. I wouldn't like it if we won the toss and then we gave them the ball first. Now, I like our defense, but I'd rather for us to score first. That's what I would rather for us to do. And to be honest with you, I'm predicting a game with a score in the 40s. That's me. I'm anticipating that this game is going to be a game in which both teams score in the 40s. And I'm not going to say who has the ball last is going to win, but I'm thinking, look how GT scored, King on the scramble, then last play with the pocket. Me too scored before they set the tone. Yeah, I know people do you think Michael Brown lost the locker room? No. I don't think Mario lost the locker room. No. I don't think that. I think it's going to take a lot more than something as minuscule as that. Not saying it's minuscule in the minuscule, but in the grand scheme, I think it's going to take a lot more than that. Because I look at it like this. The reason I say he didn't lose the locker room is because I look at it from this vantage point. I look at it from Coach Cristobal trusted the guys. He trusted Don Chaney to hold on to the ball. Now, I know some of the comments that he made in the post-game presser, like, hey, we teach two hands and stuff like that. It may, rub some people the wrong way, but I don't think Coach Cristobal lost the locker room. I really don't. I think, if anything, this probably is about the locker room closer, if anything. What's good, Eldridge? Is my phone charging? It should be. But anyway, I think about the locker room closer, to be honest. Now, I know Aurora needs to play tight end position will help the passing game, also help TV pass a bit escape pocket. We need Drake. You know what's funny, man? Wayne, when you said that, when TVD had that little run to the left and he flicked it over to Kobe, I said that don't even look like the same TVD that was running against Bethune and Temple. They don't even like the same guy. It looked like, I know it was wet on the field, but he looked like he had on Timberlands. I said, this ain't the same. But again, it could be just the fact that he knew that the contact was right there. He didn't want to engage. But I said, what is he doing? Like, run. Now, kudos to TVD. He made up for it later when he tracked the guy down after he threw the interception. He showed why he was the anchor leg on the 4x1 relay in Connecticut. He did do that, but that just looked bad. And I think UNC is going to blitz a little bit more. We picked up some of Georgia Tech blitzes, but that one sack Georgia Tech got, that was just they sent more than we could block, and TVD was a sitting duck. So that D Gene Chiswick is relatively aggressive, and I think that's what they're gonna do. And I think Guidry's gonna get aggressive. So it's gonna be about which quarterback is gonna be doing it. Yeah, he earned some respect for. Yeah, he earned some respect. Yeah, he did. Um, but yeah, this is both defensive coordinators are gonna be aggressive to see who can make something happen and which quarterback can answer the bell, when the pressure's on. You know what I mean? But man, I'm excited for this game, man. I really am, man, because it's put us right back in the same. Like I said, it's put us right back in the same position again with Texas A&M. Can we win this game? Because in years past, a loss like that, I think back to 2016, we lost to Florida State, and we lost to Florida State, and then we went on to lose 3 more games after that, and then we bounced back against Pitt and ended the season strong. TVD only has one read, consistently miss open receiver, turnover battle, and time possession return wins. Pilo, that's something I've seen people say about the check down guys being open and stuff like that, and they got film. It's 5 weeks into the season. They got film. What makes it worse about the film is the fact that Georgia Tech, they just promoted this guy on Sunday. Now, from a yardage perspective, we got what we wanted, but they still forced TVD into 3 interceptions. I mean, so that has to count for something, right? For the DC to just get the job on Sunday, and they come out with 3 interceptions. That has to count for something at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But they got film on Guidry. I mean, they got film on Dawson. All zone coverage. They got film. They got film. And UNC has better athletes than Georgia Tech has. So it's gonna be interesting. And this is the thing that a lot of people were talking about TVD when Rhett Lashley was here. Georgia Tech played the same way Miami Ohio did, but against Miami there was a screen pass the receivers was missing against Tech. QB, we ran that screen, and they were all over it. So, but yeah, now that you say that, it did kind of, thinking about it, it was kind of reminiscent of Miami Ohio game in some aspects. We could say the weather played a factor or whatever, but like people were saying about Lashley, about TVD problem is simple, but he can't deny his own zone defense. He doesn't know where the holes in the zone are and timing with receiver off. That's why he had second pick timing off. I could agree. I can agree with that. But like I said, that was the big issue with Lashley, is the fact that TVD is not actually learning how to read a defense because of the offense that he's running. It's predetermining the reads based on what it looks like pre-snap, and then post-snap, if the picture changes, then we got an issue. And Gene Chiswick is not a top defensive coordinator, but he ain't in the bottom tier either. So, like I said, it's gonna be interesting, man. It's really, I think both teams are evenly matched. His arm strength don't match his brain, if that makes sense. Wayne, it does make sense, because I know what you're saying, because that's, that kind of goes back to, some people were having a discussion. They was like, somebody got a cannon, and somebody was trying to describe to me what a cannon was, and I said, bro, nobody is saying a guy that, because what I told him, I said, look, if a guy can make a 60 or 50-some yard pass down the field, then they can make a pass from one hash to the sideline. They can do that. That's a cannon. And so I see what you're saying. TVD doesn't have that, maybe that zip on the ball like he needs to kind of fit it in those type of windows. So I understand what you're saying. He think he can make that throw, but the reality of it is his arm is like, no. You really Tom Brady like, but you think you got a Jay Cutler arm, and you just don't have it. So I understand. Wayne's right after said TV is a gunslinger without gunslinger mentality. He is not next play, let's go. And that's another thing. Like I said, Birdstone, it goes back to what I, kind of one of the first points that I made. This is an away game. This ain't at the crib. We going to Chapel Hill. We playing at night. What are we going to do if TVD comes out and throws an interception? TVD has zip or maybe the finger thing. QB, I agree with that. Because on those deep passes, it looks like it's not as bad as Quinn Ewers, because I've been watching a lot of Texas this year, and Quinn Ewers on a deep ball, he put so much air under the pass, like it looked beautiful. That pass he completed to Xavier Worthy against Alabama, that looked beautiful. But yeah, TVD is kind of he's putting a lot of air under the ball, and in that index finger, because I think quarterbacks, they'll say that index finger, it kind of works with the trajectory of the ball, just something like that. But I don't want to pile on TVD, man. He's played good up until this particular point, man. But I know they say he hadn't had a 3-interception game since UNC, but I can't say Georgia Tech game was worse than what we saw against Middle Tennessee State. I can't say there was a worse performance against Georgia Tech than Middle Tennessee State. I can't say, just because of the level of competition it was, right? But it's an away game, man. TVD's a streaky guy. And Francis, what did you just say? TVD doesn't have a threat for his job. I went back and forth with this with people last year, about TVD being given the starting position. I felt coming into this year, it should have been a true competition for the job. Let's talk about the horrible play calling. P-Lo, man, I'm gonna tell you this, man. And this is my thought process about play calling, right? If he comes out and throws a pick, bringing Jakari, say what you want about his accuracy, but one thing he do is don't turn the ball up multiple times. I don't know, man. If it gets to that, man, we're gonna put Emory out there, and I don't want to listen. Birdstone, stop doing it. I do not listen. I don't even want that to cross my mind about pulling TVD against UNC. I don't even want to think about it. But I will say this though: if he does throw, let's say 2 interceptions, that's 5 turnovers in 2 games. You have to like. You would literally have to say he got to be mentally shot. You got to. I'm going to blame the weather and the degree. Yeah, Wayne, I'm with you, man. Like, the weather. I'm going to tell you the prime example of a play that I'm blaming the weather. Haynes King rolled to the right. And he had a guy in the flat, wide open. And he threw the ball, and it was almost like the ball was full of water. And as soon as it came out of his hand, it went straight to the ground. Because the guy was wide open. He was gonna he had to step on James Williams, and he could catch the ball and turn it up and go into the end zone. So yeah, I'm blaming the water. Why didn't they change the call? Man. But you know what, Jeffrey, I talked about this on my live last night, and I'm gonna tell you this, right? This is my thought. This is probably an unpopular opinion. I feel like the thing is benching TVD means starting over, but can't have multiple interceptions again. Yeah. We can't. Benching him does mean starting over. But Jeffrey, this is my thought process about this. Don Chaney, we had on the black jerseys, and Don Chaney had on the black arm sleeves, right? So the image that everyone is showing on the internet right now, Don Chaney elbow is down. And you can kind of see the top of the ball, the white laces, but it's still kind of blurry, or just grainy. And what the referee has to decipher is, did the ball start moving? And based on the image that they were given, they can't make that distinction. But since they ruled it a fumble on the field, you got to have evidence of support to overturn it. And I don't think they had evidence to overturn it because there wasn't a clear enough picture to see that the ball did not move. Because all it takes is for the ball to just start to move a little bit, and they say, oh, well, he's starting to lose control. Now, me, you, and every Cane fan across the world can look at it and say, man, don't like that ball moved at all. But the referee's job The referee's job is to not to guess, is to know for certain. And in that situation, they couldn't know for certain that the ball didn't move. Unfortunately, I think, like I said, I think if they would have ruled it a fumble ruled it he was down on the field, and they went to the review, they would have had to stick with the call that hey he was down. That's the only way that I can you know what I'm saying. That's the only way I can I can make part of it. The ref didn't even know if it was a fumble until the GT player started pleading his case. Can you challenge the call and stuff? I don't know if you can challenge the call. I think you can challenge the call, but it's not going. I mean, they're not going to turn around and award us the game. I mean, I think it was a game like that one time before. I can't remember the game where it was a similar situation, and like maybe they can look at it and maybe do something different or whatever the situation is. But I mean, I don't know, man. Um, yeah, us leaving the game with two timeouts in the pocket. I don't get it, man. I don't, I don't get it. Like I said, man, we wouldn't even be having this discussion if we just, if we just took a knee. If we just took a knee, like it's a 3-point game. ACC refs been bad all around. Yeah, facts. Shy, let's get to the real and uncut. The real issue, despite our adversity, is out here, man. Charlie doesn't do well with situations. Crazy because every view is spewing practice it. Throw them piss balls out. Man, chill out, Sterling. Chill out. Um, Birdstall, hey, check this out. This is why the thing is we have to amass as much talent as possible so we're not in situations where his weaknesses are exploited. Simple as that. Yeah, so back to that play call. Oh yeah, Bert. So P-Lo, this is my thought about the play call. I'm glad you brought it back up. This is the way I look at it. I base play calling on matchups. That's what I base it on. If a play works, in my opinion, I would say that okay, we found a good matchup to exploit. If a play call doesn't work, then I look at it and say, okay, we thought it was a matchup, but the player is not going to be the matchup that we thought it was going to be. Simple as that. I think for the most part, I know people have a problem with them throwing it to X, but X is a matchup problem to a lot of people. Simple as that. Now, I will say this though. We do need to make a more concerted effort to get Kobe Young the ball. We really do. Like slant plays, like I haven't seen that. I really haven't seen a lot of slant routes. Um, I didn't the last couple weeks. I haven't seen the out routes. Maybe it's because of the weather. Because again, it was raining at Temple. Damn that shot, but it came up under Jimmy Johnson, one of the greatest 2-0 Nick Saban. Hey, listen, listen. Every coach has a weakness. There's no perfect coach. Every coach has a weakness. I mean, Birdstone, my thing is this: like Jimbo came up under him, and Jimbo is fumbling a massive bag. Jim McElwain coached up under Saban. He went to Florida, was able to get 2 SEC East titles, and but he couldn't get the offense. He rolled off of the defense that Will Muschamp left him. So it's just what it is. Like I mean, that's his weakness. But I'm gonna tell you something I saw on an Oregon message board, and it gave me some hope. They weren't hating. They said he's gonna mess around and we're gonna beat Florida State. That's what Oregon fans said, based on what they know about him. They said we lost to Georgia Tech, but Coach Cristobal will mess around and we'll beat Florida State. So I'm gonna sit and wait. Look at the end of the game. I feel like I got kicked this stuff by a horse and steer. Yeah, Jeffrey. Like, hey, like I told Wayne, I can't dwell on that too long, man, cause I got a dangerous job, so I can't be thinking about that. They weren't too high, but they rotated based on our formation. We did a handoff. That's the thing, though. I'm glad you brought that up, Scar. That's the thing. We heard that TVD has the ability to audible out of this stuff. So if they send in the too high look, run the ball. Gotta run the ball. Like make it ugly. Like run the ball. Like TVD. Um, you ain't gotta get a Heisman performance against GT in bad weather. You don't have to do that. Just run the ball. Audible down to a run. You don't gotta do that. But that is something interesting though, man. If teams can figure out that they can sit in too high and play zone, and TVD is lost, and he has to think that extra second because, like I said before the season, he has no excuses, none. You had input on the coordinator hire. You got input on changing the play. You got all this. None. There is no excuse. I don't want to hear that our red shirt junior or whatever it is can't read zone defense. I don't want to. Bruh, I can't, man. I don't want to hear it. I promise I don't want to hear it. So, but getting back to Kobe, like I said, I'm biased to Jacoby George, but we should be Kobe Young. Gotta get the ball more, man. I mean, it's not even up for discussion right now. Also flex tight end knowing we don't throw to them, ain't it either? Dawson got to be better than that. Why was TVD scared to overrule the run and just take the knee instead of it ain't gonna bench him? It ain't like they gonna bench him. I'm gonna be real. I got nothing but love for TVD, but he's like Dak for me. He's a good quarterback. Man, don't do that, man. Don't say TVD like Dak, man. Don't say that, man. I'm gonna get discouraged. I don't know why TVD didn't overrule the knee. I think, but to me, man, I'm gonna say it like this. I think taking a knee, man, that's based on the head coach. Just like going for two, or going for onside kick, or fake punt, all that stuff like that, man. I think that's based on the head coach. And then there's another thing though. Can you? Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. I'm gonna get discouraged. For real, I'm gonna get discouraged, man. I'm already a little discouraged, but I'm gonna chalk it up because the reason, and I'm not saying that him and this quarterback are equivalent, but JJ McCarthy just threw 3 interceptions against Rutgers, a week ago, and then they came back and Michigan looking like the best team in college football. So that's why I'm not. But if you come out with another game like that, I don't know, man. Hey, but Birdstar, check this out, though. This is going to be a deep quarterback draft. So, wouldn't that be great if the Cowboys drafted TVD? Wouldn't that be great if TVD got drafted? I know Sean, it hurts me too, but I saw it every Saturday and Sunday. They both who they are. They are not QBs with the X factor. They got that X factor. Don't they still do that little hip exercise for the game? Oh man, hey man, yeah, I love it. But man, what do y'all think, man? I know y'all said dominate UNC and all that stuff like that, but what do y'all think the score would be, man? What do y'all think the score? Like I said, I'm thinking in the 40s. The Cowboy got Trey Young. You mean Trey? What is it? Trey Lance. Man. Let me see. I'm really thinking like 48-45. I'm thinking a situation like that. I'm thinking 48-45. It's 50-50 game to me, man. Like the A&M game, it's 50-50 to me, man. But I'm thinking 48-45. What do y'all guys think? 38-31. Okay. I think TVD had some it factor because he had it freshman year. All K's 42-34. QB, I'm gonna tell you something, man. 48-41. I don't know if you caught my live last night, but I was listening to Canesville, Footballville, and X said something to the effect that TVD freshman year was aided a lot because De'Aaron King was on the sideline helping him a lot. And so De'Aaron King is not there anymore. And so it's kind of like, Do I want to put credence to that? Because a lot of people did make that notion that Derek King is gonna be a good. Oh yeah, QB, you did listen to it because you commented. My bad, but Derek King gonna make a good coach. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, we don't have a veteran quarterback on the roster. So are you telling me that the QB coach can't help TVD? Do we gotta call Malik Rozier to the sideline? Do we gotta try to get? I mean, what do we gotta do? I asked the question with Canesville, so I'm asking here: has TVD regressed? Regressed. Regress from what? Now I'm not trying to be smart, Birdstone, but regress from what? In terms of what, when you say regress, what are you saying? Because TVD only played X amount of games in 2021. So he didn't really necessarily have a full season. So I can't say he's regressed, because what I'll say is that I don't think he's prime example. Perfect point. A lot of people, what we said was we want TVD to go back to freshman TVD. But in reality, when you really say that, and when you say that, I know what people mean, but when you say that, that means that you want the same play that he got and also the same faults. You don't want any growth in his game, right? So mentality wise, he was super confident his freshman year. Guarantee NC State, he has not been that guy since. Man, I mean, I don't know if like they made mention of before the game. He's been reading more. He's been trying to become a better leader. So I don't know, again, if like I say, I respect what Canesville and them say, and if they're saying something like Derek King was there to help him a lot, then we may have to look at it like that. We may have to look at it like that to say TVD going through something off the field. Scar, he is going through something off the field. He is. And it's kind of the same thing that was going on with Derek King, the NIL. And that's the other thing that people don't want to talk about. Every player can't operate with the NIL, because we don't know all of his NIL deals. We don't know what all the obligations that he has for his NIL. We don't know. So TVD may have a lot of stuff that he has to do NIL wise to make sure he gets paid. It's not so much about TVD. What he got, an AMG Mercedes or something like that? Someone say no, it's his girl. I mean, some people said that last year. I don't understand how QBs make it that far without being a leader. P-Lo, I'm gonna say this, man. Listening to people talk about that Florida team with Tebow there, to the world, Tebow was the leader of that team. But to the people that actually were in the locker room, they said Tebow was not the leader. He was not the leader. He was just a person pushed out in front. He was not the leader. Most people say the Pouncey twins were the leader. And we understood the levels that Tim Tebow made it to. So it's possible to make it to that, you know what I'm saying? It's possible to make it to that particular pinnacle and not necessarily be the leader. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I know some people said something about the girl last year, but it's like, at the end of the day, man, these are still young men. They got class. They got NIL they got to deal with. They got personal life. I always go back to what Malik Rozier said about people sending direct messages and stuff. And everybody can't brush that stuff off, man. Everybody can't be LeBron James and Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, guys who just can take that criticism and just keep going. Some guys, that really affects them. And I think a lot easier for quarterbacks to make it P-Lo. Can't romanticize the Brady's. QB's job is to make everyone else's job easier. Me personally, as a coach, I need my coach. He TVD Prescott, y'all. I'm sorry. It was TVD Prescott. Come on, man. You can't say Dak. I'm gonna give you another example. I don't think Quinn Ewers is the leader of Texas. Just look at some of the quarterbacks, across the country. I don't think Quinn Ewers is the leader at Texas. Um, I don't think that. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is the leader for Michigan. I know for a fact Carson Beck is not the leader at Georgia. I know for a fact Jalen Milroe is not the leader at Alabama. So, but obviously you got obvious examples of the leaders, like the King was a big part of helping TVD. Wanted to use his legs more. Derrick King was a run threat. Beck ain't the leader at Georgia. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Carson Beck ain't the leader at he ain't the leader at Georgia. That's a defensive led team. And going back to 2017, I'm sorry about this background noise. My air pressure done got low, so bear with me for a second. I gotta move up again. Um, bear with me for a second. I don't think Malik was the leader for our 2017 team. So I think it's a lot of examples of teams playing well and the quarterback not being the leader. I don't think we have an anomaly. Just like Marshawn pointed out, P-Lo, you hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head with that. Marshawn kept it a stack. Russ wasn't the leader. And many people in the media felt like this team is a Legion of Boom. This ain't Russ. This is just he just happens to be the quarterback. And when they tried to make him the leader, was Jarren Williams the leader? Man, come on, QB. Doggone. You know what? Thinking back to that 2018 team, who was the leader? That's a good question. Who? I mean, we were still defensive led, so maybe you could say Shaq Quarterman was the leader. But as a prime example, who was the leader in 2018? But nah, Jarren wasn't the leader. He was probably the leader. Ellen, what's up? Jarren was probably the leader. KJ and Shaq. Okay, you're right. I forgot about KJ. But yeah, that's but to get to that point, I think that's what that is though, man. TVD. And to be honest, on the offense, I think X is the leader. So, I mean, it's kind of like, it's almost like what people were talking about. Anybody watch basketball with Kyrie and KD, where it's like you think that KD's supposed to be the leader, but KD kind of following Kyrie. So it's kind of like X is the leader, and TVD's kind of following maybe what X, is doing, or whatever the situation is like that. But I'm gonna say this, man. What do y'all think about Tyler Harrell's performance? Tyler Harrell got in the game, and I made mention of this. I think I made no, I didn't. When I went over what I wanted to say last night, I mentioned Tyler. What do y'all think about what Tyler Harrell did? I saw a guy that he's not a very good route runner. That's what I saw from Tyler Harrell. I saw a guy that's not a very good route runner. And so it was kind of evident, like, okay, well, that's why he's not, like, on the field as much. I don't think he's a very good route runner. I think he's fast, but he's not a very good route runner. I don't know if he can block either. So it's kind of like one of them situations where it's like, if he comes in a game and defensive coordinators know, well, he's not a good route runner and he can't block. If he's in the game, we already know he's running deep. Wayne, I saw that too against A&M. And which that's one of the things that I said when he came here. I said, pause. Can he run routes? And no one ever had an answer. They just said he was fast. I said, okay, cool, fine. I'm not gonna argue. But when people ask why he's not on the field, I bet people don't even know that he was on the field against Georgia Tech. And he was. He either going deep or a curl. So, I don't know, man. But, and it's something else. P-Lo, back to the play calling. Back to the play calling. When I saw them give Brashard the ball that one time on the run and then line Brashard up in the backfield, the first thing went through my mind is I said, man, it's almost like Shannon Dawson is realizing we have so many weapons and it is hard. It's like he's having a hard time figuring out how to use these guys. He needs 2 years to learn how to run. Man, if you ain't look, he been in school since 2018. If he can't run a route 5, 6 years later, hey, it's over with. It's over with. Can't, Beard is good, but hey, if you can't run a route by now, hey man, hey, you need to cut it. It's over with. But when I saw that, and I don't think, and Brashard did not get back in the game after that carry. Brashard did not. I did not see Brashard back in the game. I did not see a concerted effort to get Brashard Smith the ball. And I said, man, is Shannon Dawson running into a wall and not realizing how to get these people the ball? That's why I wasn't so, I'm jumping out the window about when people say, oh man, we sticking with the three guys too much. It's like, man, that's a hard job when you got a lot of guys that can do a lot of things. And we, like someone said, we hadn't even used the tight ends yet. Pilo, yeah, you learn. Hey, but when you as fast as Tyler Harrell, ain't nobody teach you how to run routes. It's like, I remember they were talking about Tyreek Hill one time, and they were saying like, when Tyreek was younger, they were trying to help Tyreek learn how to run with better form, but they said he's just so fast that don't bother it, just leave it alone. So I guess it's like if Tyler Harrell can run by people, he gonna make some money running post routes in fades. So we ain't gotta worry about running a hitch and a curl and all this stuff. Because in a perfect world, you would want to throw a screen to Tyler Harrell, let him work his wiggle and get up the sideline. In the perfect world, that's what you want. But unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world where that's false. That's what we signed up. That's what he signed up for. Speaking of Dawson, hey, Hill worked on his route running though. No, Scar. I'm not talking about Hill's route running. I'm talking about they were speaking about how they wanted to change the way Tyreek was able to run, like his running style, like his form. It's not good. This game was to be conservative and came back and said, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like his form, like he doesn't have good form running. And they were saying, well, maybe we should try to help him change the way that he runs. But they were like, nah, we ain't gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. So, but anyway, man, I'm about to get loaded. So I'm gonna holler back at y'all. But my answer to the question is, I would rather play Ole Miss, right? So, but anyway, man, I appreciate y'all, man. I'm about to get loaded. So I'm out. As always, man, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Peace.